Hello friends, I hope you all are doing well. So welcome to Drishti IAS Science and Technology Mains Answer Discussion Session. Myself Neeraj Nachiketa, I am faculty of General Science and Science and Technology, and I've been teaching this subject for more than 15 years. So I am going to discuss today three important questions in Science and Technology asked in Mains 2021 examination. As you all know that Science and Technology is the part of General Studies third paper, GS3. In Science and Technology areas, from 2013 mains exam onward, UPSC has been continuously asking 2 to 3 questions every year in the examination. Now, if you compare the level of questions and the standards with respect to prelims exam, the questions are not very difficult. In main examination, UPSC is looking for clarity of understanding of key concept, application with important facts, and along with that, you have to connect with the societal, economic development, national security, cyber security, and different areas which are linked to day-to-day life and to human lives. You all know that science and technology is transforming human lives across various sectors. Governance. Today, in terms of governance, we are using number of technology, particularly like ICT, computing, has become core part of governance. So when we say good governance in terms of providing benefits to large masses of India, science and technology play a very pivotal role. That's why in the main examination, according to the syllabus in GS3 paper, UPSC has been asking continuous questions in terms of applications of important areas of science and technology from the governance point of view, at the same time what transform human lives. 2021 questions are also on the same line. Those candidates, those aspirants who have read concepts thoroughly, they're aware of applications thoroughly, and they can connect to India's development from the science and technology perspective, would be able to write answers in 150 words and 250 words. Now, if we see the trend analysis over the last 5 years, if we take from 2017 2021, the questions and the marks, they are as follows. So let's look at this graph here. 2017 in the UPSC main exam, 35 marks question came from science and technology. 2018, 25 marks. It just went slightly down. Then again 2019, 35 marks. 2020, 50 marks. It went up. And 2021, 40 marks. So if you compare this 5 years marks of science and technology in 250 marks question paper, so that's almost around 30 to 50 marks come from science and technology. I've been always studying in classes and various batches that science and technology is not only science and technology. Even science and technology interventions in geography, in environment, in cyber security, in economic development, they're connected to it, and even there also UPSC asks questions. These are the marks based on pure science and technology question, which are completely scientific and technological asked in the examinations. But what I said, if you look at the applications of scientific and technological concepts in other areas of general studies, you would find in other papers, GS1, 2, there might be questions on that. So I am here talking purely from science tech questions asked in GS3 papers. So if you look at here further, In context of here, 2017, one question, pure science and technology. I'm talking only science and technology question. If you take inter-applied, interconnected areas, then it will be higher. So one question 10 and two question 25 marks. So 35 marks comes. 2018, one question 15 marks and then one question 10 marks. You know that the present trend of the examination, candidate has to write either 150 words or 250 words, 10 marks or 15 marks. So one and one question 25 marks. 2019, there were two questions 10 marks 150 words and one question 15 marks 250 words. So that total comes 35 marks. 2020, there were four questions, right, in terms of 50 marks, that is a 12.5 marks there, 12.5, right, and total if you come to 50 marks there. 2021, three questions, somewhere around 40 marks, and 40 marks if you are looking at that, so almost near to 1/5 of the paper based on science and technology, right. Now if you look at the syllabus point of view, syllabus clearly mentioned that science tech development in India, contributions of eminent Indian in the field of science and technology, then indigenization of technologies, IPR issues, and development in space, IT, computing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, robotics. So here very clearly the breakup is there. The development of science and technology, its application, IT, space, robotics, etc., and issues related to intellectual property, you will find 40, 50, 20, 15, 10, these are the marks there. Now if you look at the achievement of Indians in the field of science and technology, if you look at the questions, one question 2019, right, which is based on the, you know that, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan and M. Viswesvaraya, in terms of water-based technology question was asked. Another one question 2018, that is in terms of Satyendranath Bose and his contribution in the field of science and technology. Right, this year 2021 blue LED and the Nobel Prize winners based on that asked. So scientists and their contributions, right, at the global level, even there UPSC is making some kind of changes and asking questions there, right. So now if you look at here, let's look at the questions here. First question, after a long time, a question in defense technology, right? Generally defense question comes in the prelims exam, but in the main examination, although defense technology is not mentioned as a part of the syllabus, but since you all know that science and technology questions which come in main exam are linked with current affairs, what you read in newspapers, right, current affairs magazines, right, which are the part of the social media, right, print media. There in terms of general awareness and understanding, UPSC asks questions there. Defense question has been asked here, and since it was in the news, India and Russia deal in terms of S-400 Triumph missile system, UPSC asked a direct question. There are questions which are direct, where you have to write about the technology and write about the features of the technology being asked in the question there, right. Second, where you come indirect question, where you have an application and then you have to look into positive and negative, pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages. You have to analyze the technological development and the application part. Now this year if you look at the first question, it is based on the direct. What is the question here? Let's look at the question here. How is S-400 air defense system technically superior to any other system presently available in the world? Answer in 150 words. So what is the very important here? The technology here is S-400 air defense system. And the second part of the question says how it is technically superior than other such air defense systems worldwide, right. So another very important keyword in the question is technical superiority in comparison to other such systems worldwide. See, when the question comes direct, there are certain types of facts are there. Certain type of key concepts are there. If a candidate in his or her answer miss out those kind of facts, those type of key concepts, right, marks will be less given in such kind of answers there. So if you want to score very good marks in the science tech questions, you have to write the main concept which is being asked in the exam in the question and connected with those facts with the technology area. So now if you look at here, I have already shown the photograph. This is what you can see. This is the S-400, right, missile defense system, which have been developed by Russia. Right, Russia has developed this S-400 system, which is a upgraded version of S-300. Earlier was S-300. Now, this is where you see the photograph. 4 missiles are there, which are put on the truck, right, which can launch these 4 missiles. Now, when you write answer, a direct question like this. So, first of all, very important thing is that what is air defense system? A candidate must know what is air defense system. What is air defense system? Air defense system is basically anti-ballistic missile defense system or simply missile defense system, which can protect a country or a territory from any incoming missile attack. Right? That's where the air defense system is used worldwide. Now, if you look at worldwide defense here, 3 countries in the world, right, in having this kind of technology, 3 countries in the world. First is the USA, second comes Russia, and third country which has developed, that is Israel. Fourth country in the world which is working towards developing indigenous missile defense system, that is India. We are building the indigenous system there. But presently worldwide operational come from these 3 countries. And now the name, if you look at, like USA has got THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System or Terminal High Altitude Advanced Area Defense System. Lockheed Martin company has built this THAAD air defense system for USA. Russia, I have said here, S-400, prior what was S-300. And Israel, you are aware of this name, Iron Dome. So when you start writing answer, let's say 150 words, you cannot write everything. So in your answer, you have to first start with a brief introduction, a very brief introduction. So what is brief introduction here? That you will be referring, you will be mentioning that air defense system is a system to protect a country from any incoming missile attack. Very simple language, a sentence you have to mention. Then you will go ahead mentioning that there are 3 such advanced air defense systems used worldwide. You will write about the USA THAAD system, Russia S-400, and then Israel Iron Dome. This is a brief introduction, right? Now the body of the answer. Body of the answer is what? Technical superiority of S-400 in comparison to other system like THAAD and Iron Dome, where you have to do the comparison. But first of all, you have to mention in the body of the answer the technological features of S-400. Right? You have to mention that. And then you have to go to the comparison. So, what can be done here? In this answer here, answer to this question here, a brief introduction. You will be writing about a brief introduction here. The first part, what I just mentioned right now, that what is air defense system, right? Air defense system, right, to protect from incoming missile. It can be both ballistic and cruise missile. See, when you write answer from the science and technology, those technological terms should be there. It should reflect to the examiner that you know science and technology. What is here? Air defense system is basically a system, right, which protect a country from any incoming missile attack, whether ballistic or cruise missiles. So in the answer, you don't have to explain what is ballistic, what is cruise, or what is there. You're simply introduced. What is air defense system? Missile defense system, right? Then you will mention about here that 3 such air defense system, right, presently in use. In a sentence, you will be writing about 3 such systems which are presently in use. So USA THAAD, you will be writing about the THAAD missile here, right? Russia, you will write earlier S-300, then now S-400, which is the most advanced one, and then coming to Israel, you will be writing about Iron Dome. You will be mentioning that in your introduction part. You will be mentioning that, right? Then what comes here? You have to go to the body of the answer. Now, body of the answer, you have to write about technological features of S-400, because the question is on S-400. So here you will be writing about the features of that technological features of S-400. Then you will do what? Comparison. Comparison to THAAD and Iron Dome. Now in introduction, even you can mention that India, in terms of bilateral deal with Russia, right, 5 squadron of S-400 has been signed, and it has been now been deployed in Punjab. That was in news, right? That was in headlines. Even if you want to mention in the introduction, you can mention that. Even in the introduction, if you want to mention that this S-400 system being developed and built by, right, Avante, this Ante, right, almost Ante, that's a Russia-owned, state-owned company. Even that fact, you can mention that. Your answer should be such that the examiner knows that, okay, you are aware of all these areas there. Let's go through it one by one. So I have given you a structure of the answer. What is very important when you read a question, when you understand a question, you must first frame the structure and then you start writing answer there. Since it is 150 words, you have to write very specific points. Let's look into that. So first thing what comes here, that is in terms of its technical superiority after writing the introduction. So what is technical superiority of this S-400? First of all, it is a upgraded form of S-300, right? Then Russian Defense Forces, they are using from their Almaz Ante. It is being manufactured by Almaz. There is a company called Almaz Ante, which is a state Russian company which is manufacturing this Almaz Ante. And in Russia, it is being used from 2007. Right? Same system has been in the news for being bought by China. China doesn't have its own indigenous, but again using the Russia's 400. It was also in the news because America has been also trying to negotiate with India in terms of selling THAAD missile with Patriot missile system. But India went for S-400, which is the most superior in the world. Right? We'll see its features here. So what comes here, the next part is that why it is so technologically superior. You have seen in the photograph that it's 4 missiles, right, and is capable of intercepting ballistic and cruise missile, right, to a range of 600 kilometers. any such missile to a range of 600 kilometers, it has got two radar system, interception system, two radar system, which will be capable of detecting any kind of aerial target, multiple aerial target like stealth fighter jet, missiles, rockets, AWACS, airborne early warning and control systems, and even unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, drone. Its two radar system will be able to intercept from a range of 600 kilometers, which is a very far away. And those missiles can go and hit the targets. So when you write answer, you have to mention this kind of a feature there. So if you look at here, so it's a mobile long range surface to air missile. What is called LRSAM. Is a long range surface to air missile, and it is a movable. Is a mobile. That means it can be launched on a mobile platform, that is a truck. The heavy truck which carry the 4 missile which can be deployed. Right? So the battery, the unit where the advanced radar which will intercept the incoming missile, and this 4 missile which can be fired to all such multiple aerial targets. So these surface to air missiles are there. Right? What is the next thing here? Next thing is that it can take down multiple aerial target, capable of destroying multiple aerial targets. Right? At a time, simultaneously, it can take down multiple aerial targets. Like such as here, when you write answer here, you can give examples here. It can, let's say, rocket, missile, right, which come from enemy side there, even the fighter jets, and not only the normal fighter jet, even the stealth, which normal radars will not be able to intercept. The radars of S-400 will be able to intercept it. Then also what? Here AWACS, airborne early warning and control system, which is basically a aircraft with the radar, which is used for surveillance in this part. So AWACS system also. Then also UAV, unmanned aerial vehicles or drones. Multiple aerial targets will be capable of destroying that. That's what S-400 is more superior. Right? Now the range, what is the range? 600 kilometers it can intercept to a range of here. So beyond visual range here interception, if you look at beyond visual range, right, up to 600 kilometers, can engage with such aerial targets. The radar can find out 600 kilometers, such kind of multiple aerial targets. And then this LRSAM, long range surface to air missile, S-400 means 400 kilometers. When it comes in 400 kilometers, can go and hit it and destroy it. Right? So there's a feature here. Further, if you look at here, it is capable of engaging with more than 80 targets. It is capable of destroying more than 80 targets. That's what its superiority is very, very high. No other such air defense system in the world, American THAAD or Israel Iron Dome, has that kind of a capacity. Right? Aerial targets at the same time, simultaneously. It can engage with more than 80 such multiple aerial targets. Right? Your answer will fetch more marks if you are able to bring such salient highlights, features in a very clarity point wise. Right? If you are able to bring, you will get marks. Right? Simple generalized only saying that interception and this and that will not work. It brings certain type of facts. Correct? So if you look at this, what I mentioned here, more than 80 targets can be engaged. Now further here, this is called Triumph. Is another name is S-400 Triumph. Right? TRIUMF. Right? Triumph air defense system, multifunction radar. So it has got here multifunction radar, because it is able to intercept various type of aerial target. Right? radar it has got, then it has an autonomous detection. Once it is deployed, it will automatically detect, right? Then another very important thing is that it has a targeting system. It will autonomous detect the aerial target and automatically autonomous it will fire the missile. The LRSAM missile will be fired to the incoming missile, because this is what you require. That such system can be placed in the border areas and all, and it can automatically can detect, sense incoming missiles or such multiple aerial targets. Can be helicopter, can be fighter jet, it can be drone, and target it with a missile, right? So it has got detection and targeting system here, right? Targeting system here, right? Anti-aircraft missile, it has got systems here. Anti-aircraft missile system is a launcher. It has got launchers. You have seen on the truck, this launcher is there, which can be raised and the missile can be fired. So here, this is one thing. Then second thing is what? It has got here anti-aircraft missile. Even aircraft can be destroyed by S-400. Then what comes here? It has got launchers, and so there will be launchers which will launch. And the fourth very important thing is here control and command center, which is controlled through computer system, autonomous computer system, which can control and command this missiles which will go to the target here. Right? Center will be there, system will be there. It is equipped with this one, right? So again, point wise, you have to write in your answer. You have to bring about all these points there. So it can automatically can track, detect, and also fire the missile, right? Anti-aircraft missile or anti this SAM missile will be there, surface to air missile. Plus it will have launcher which will launch there, and then control and command center, right? Now if you see here further, it has got 4 missiles here. How many missiles are there? There are 4 different missiles are there in S-400, and they have a range. If you look at range here, range of the missile 400 kilometers, then it has a 250 kilometers, then 120 kilometers, and then last comes here 40 kilometers. There are 4 missiles, right? And this has got different ranges it can intercept and can destroy the targets. 400 kilometers, which is a long range, then 100, then 250 kilometers, 120 kilometers and 40 kilometers. Another very, very important fact. If a student or candidate write in the answer, will get marks, right? So here, then again what comes here? Control command system. When you say control command system here, it has got 2 batteries. 2 units will be there, right? One will be surveillance radar and engagement radar, and 4 launch truck is there. So what happens in control and command system here? In this one, you have here 2 batteries are there, right? Each of the battery, you can say control command system, 2 batteries, right? 2 batteries means unit. Here battery here means unit. 2 units will be there. Each unit will have a surveillance radar, which will survey the sky. Then interception radar, right? And then 4 launchers will be there. 4 trucks which can fire. Imagine that. One control and command center has got 2 units, and each of the unit will have 1 surveillance radar, 2nd interception radar, and 3rd there are 4 launchers will be there. 4 trucks with 4 missile each. 4 trucks with 4 missiles each. That means at a time, if you place in the border areas, multiple targets at one time can be destroyed. Right? It's a very, very important thing. When you write answer, you have to bring about those kind of areas there. Right? It's another very advanced feature here. 2 batteries, each control command system will surveillance radar, engagement radar, and 4 launch trucks. 4 launch trucks will be there. Right? Now this S-400, right? Now whatever the information on the public domain, it is there. Another very important feature is that it can be deployed very quick, very quick deployment. Within minutes, it can be deployed. So what is here? First thing is that within 5 minutes, right? Within 5 minutes, right? This can be assembled. This S400 can be assembled, right? And ready for launch, ready for action, right? Another thing, this truck which carries such heavy big missiles, it can be used in any kind of terrain. It can be hilly area, high altitude area, right? Let's say Ladakh and all this area there. Or it will be plain area, coastal area, right? Because why coastal area also very important? Island and coastal area. Because Andaman Nicobar Island, Lakshadweep, we have a long coastline. So it can be deployed from any kind of a terrain, right? It can be fired, right here, can be fired from any type of a geographical terrain, right? So any kind of a airborne threat, it will be able to find out. And the launchers are mounted on 8x8 cross-country trucks. 8 wheels are there. 8x8 cross-country truck, right? That launchers are there, right? Now further, if you look at here, it is the, if you compare, now let's look at the next part of the body of the answer. If we compare with the American THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Advanced Area Defense System, which is built by Lockheed Martin, the American company. Now, if you compare with THAAD, THAAD is a kind of a single dimension kind of a air defense system. Here in S400, you have 4 missiles, and it can engage multiple aerial targets. Whereas the THAAD missile, if you compare with THAAD missile, right? So THAAD missile, if you look at here, the THAAD missile has got a single layer of defense here. Another thing with THAAD missile is that intermediate range and intercontinental ballistic missiles can be intercepted by THAAD system of America. It was also in the news because America wanted to give it THAAD to South Korea to defend its border from any kind of attack from the North Korea. And you know that prelims exam question has also been asked in the about THAAD missile, right? So if you look at here, it is able to counter intermediate range and ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, which can be more than 5,000 kilometer long range, right? At the same time, if it defense system misses another missile system like Patriot missile, so let's say the THAAD missile, our system is able to miss, then it will use as a countermeasure Patriot missile, which again the American missile is there. So single layer of defense it has got, which can intercept the intermediate range, right? That is from 150 kilometer, 3,000, 1,500 kilometer, 3,000 kilometer range to 5,000 kilometer range, right? Now this is about terminal high altitude area defense system of USA. Right? Now, if we compare with the Iron Dome, Israeli system, again you know that Iron Dome comes in news because Israel, to protect its border and citizens from attack of rockets or mortars or missiles from Palestine, right? From Palestine at Gaza Strip and Gaza Bank, West Bank and Gaza Strip there. Hezbollah and Hamas, their attack which come from the cross border. For that, Israel has built this Iron Dome. Now, Iron Dome system has been built by the company called Rafael, Israeli company Rafael, right? Rafael, that is the name of the Israeli company. IAI, Rafael, that is the Israeli company which has built this system called Iron Dome. Now, Iron Dome, if you look at and compare with S400, comparison part. Now, what are the features of Iron Dome? Iron Dome is also able to simultaneously engage with multiple aerial targets which are meant to counter rockets, artillery and mortar firings. Right? Short distance. Iron Dome is a short distance. Whereas the S-400, 400 kilometer, 250 kilometer, 120 kilometer, 40 kilometers. 4 missiles. That is the S-400. Iron Dome, short range. So if you look at the Iron Dome here, it's a short range ground to air defense system. What is Iron Dome? It's a short range ground to air defense system which uses Tamir, Israeli missile called Tamir, Tamir, Tamir missile there, right? Is a dual radar and Tamir interceptor missiles. It can neutralize rockets or missiles, right, which are being fired towards Israeli targets. Another thing about is that it is basically called here CRAM. What is CRAM? Countering rocket, artillery, right, and mortars. What does CRAM stands for? Iron Dome can counter rockets, artillery, and missile as well as helicopter attack. Right, helicopter attack as well as here aircraft attack, helicopter attack, and even the drone. Even it is also capable of targeting the drone. Drone also, right, can be neutralized by Iron Dome. Drone, unmanned aerial vehicle, helicopter, aircraft attack. Along with that, CRAM, countering rockets, right, artillery and mortar firing there. This is about Israeli system there, right? Now in 2011 it was built, right? This is a Rafael Advanced company, the system there, 2011. Radar is built by ELTA. Another very, very important fact. Now if you look at Iron Dome 2011 it was deployed. This company, Rafael company which has built this Iron Dome, claim that 90% success is there. But generally you can say it is up to 80% success rate of Iron Dome. Now if we do the comparison here, this is a chart which compared there. See, if you look at S-400 and Iron Dome, two air defense system. So if you look at S-400, is mobile surface to air missile anti-ballistic missile system, whereas here is a short range countering rocket, artillery and mortar. They're more equipped with that. Iron Dome is there. This you know, Russia, S-400 is Israel. Cost, if you look at S-400 is very costly, $300 million per fire unit, right, for land launchers, 120 missiles. Whereas here is a $50 million per battery there and $40,000 per missile. That is the Iron Dome cost. So Iron Dome cost 1/6 than S-400. The cost wise Iron Dome is cheaper, but efficiency wise it is not that superior as S-400 of Russia. Then again here I have already discussed 400, 250, 120, 40 kilometers, that is S-400. Now here Iron Dome can also intercept from a range of 600 kilometers, but is mostly suitable to destroy multiple these targets in a short range, right? So since 2007 Russia is using S-400, whereas the Iron Dome is being used from 2011 by Israel there. Now speed also here, like maximum target speed of S-400 is 4.8 km per second or Mach 14. 1 Mach, you know, speed of sound in air. Whereas the maximum speed of Iron Dome missile, anti-missile that which use, that is 500,000 miles per hour. Correct? So this is the comparison. When you write answer, you have to bring about such technical superiority of S-400. Along with that, you have to also mention about its comparison with the other two. Right? India in the Punjab, it's already we have purchased, right, is more than 35,000 crore deal with Russia. And recently Vladimir Putin, who came to India, that again with the Prime Minister, the talk was there, and we are going to have this squadron of S-400. So you have to conclude your answer. You will conclude your answer by suggesting that it is a very formidable defense system for our country because of our neighborhood, right? China and Pakistan factor, and particularly the dragon, China's more aggressiveness right across the eastern borders here. So we have to be prepared, and such kind of S-400 can be very, very important for our national security. In a simple sentence, you can write and end your answer there. Correct? So that's where the answer. So what I have discussed here, right? So we have seen the limitation. What is limitation of Iron Dome? Right? If you look at there, Iron Dome, again, certain more information I would like to share here. That is a limitation part. If you look at, if there is more hundreds and rockets are fired together, it will simultaneously. Then it is not that efficiency there, right? So overwhelmed with a barrage of projectile like system-wide saturation point, right? Number of targets at the same time. If there are more number of rockets fired at one, it will be difficult to neutralize all of them, right? So that means if you see S-400 comparison with THAAD and Iron Dome, S-400 definitely is more superior. That is the crux of the question asked in the exam. But what I said, 150 words, you have to bring about main points. How would you write the answer? You will start with a paragraph with introduction, then you will write the technical features point wise, and then compare with the other two, and then you have to conclude your answer. Right? That is how you can write a good way in 150 words and fetch maximum marks in this kind of question. I hope this helps you understand in terms of answer writing part of it. Now we'll go to the next question, right? Second question is also very important, which has been asked in the exam. Let's first read the question here, then we'll go to the answer here. Second question is that, what are the research and developmental achievements in applied biotechnology? This is based on biotechnology application, right? But read the question very carefully, because many students, many aspirants would not have read completely and would have given the answer. The question is achievements in R&D, achievements in research and development, right? In terms of applied biotechnology. And second part of question, how will these achievements will help to uplift the poorer sections of the society? And it is a 250 words question. So if you look at here, what are the key words here? First, research and development achievements. I am just underlining this. Research and development achievements. Many of aspirants in the exam simply would have started with GM crops, this and that, BT and this, DMH, and so, DNA fingerprinting, so and so and so and so. Will not get marks. Research and development. Question is very specific. R&D achievements. Another keyword is that applied biotechnology. The use of biotechnology, application of biotechnology, and in that context, R&D achievements. And the next part of question, how that can uplift poorer section of the society here. How these achievements, now another thing, these R&D achievements, research and development achievements, will help to uplift the poorer section of the society. Downtrodden sections of the society. So if you look at here, what are the crux here? The first crux of the question is that research and development achievements. Now, what is another thing here? In which field? In applied biotechnology. See, when you write answer and after reading question, you have to understand the question very carefully. And then how these achievements to uplift poorer sections of the society. understanding question becomes very important. If you understand questions properly and then write answer according to the question, you will get marks. Otherwise, UPSC is not going to give you marks. Many times I have found the students take the science and technology topic very lightly. Right? They take it very lightly. Super confidence that they will be able to write anything and get marks. That's a big mistake by students. You have to write as per the need and you have to bring the scientific and technological research and development, and particularly from the Indian context. Newspaper or current affairs magazines may not cover all those kind of areas there. You have to connect with the government ministries and departments and scientific organization in that area of science and technology, and then you have to bring about the answer there. Right? So now if you see here, this question can be answered if a candidate has gone through research and development in basic and applied biotechnology, being supported and funded by the Department of Biotechnology under the Ministry of Science and Technology in various areas of biotechnology like agriculture biotechnology, medical biotechnology, industrial biotechnology, environmental biotechnology, and then from the societal upliftment, various programs, various government missions, and particularly over the last few years, if a candidate is able to write in the answer 250 words, would get marks in the exam. Let's understand here. If you look at here, so here you have to focus from Department of Biotechnology, right? One is what? In terms of funded research, R&D, in various areas of biotechnology. This only you will get information on the website of Department of Biotechnology. Many students, they don't do that. They just simply they take up the magazines and all those compiled materials and ratify. This will not help. Right? UPSC, if you have to get really good marks, you have to walk an extra mile. And here, very important is this one. The Department of Biotechnology under Ministry of Science and Technology. And their R&D. Then here, achievements. You know, PIB, Press Information Bureau, and the achievement part which comes there. And over the 3-4 years, if you have gone through that. And there, in terms of various programs there. Now, why programs are very, very important? Missions are important? Because the second part of the question asks upliftment of poorer sections of the society. So you have to know about such interventions, government programs, right, from the Department of Biotechnology. Now it is as per the syllabus, because syllabus says development in biotechnology. So you have to prepare with that. Right. Earlier also, UPSC had already asked 2 times in mains exam the question on biotechnology. Now this again, the third question on biotechnology has been asked in the mains exam, right? So if you look at here, so how would you go ahead in terms of answer here? So what do you have to do in your answer writing? Your introduction. First thing is the introduction. So in the introduction part, right, in this question, in the introduction part, you are going to write 2 to 3 sentences, right? If you look at answer here, let me give you a kind of a overview, brief overview. So in the introduction should not be very lengthy, 3 to 4 sentences. Here you have to write about the role of Department of Biotechnology, DBT, under Ministry of Science and Technology. So here, what you are going to bring here about the mandate of Department of Biotechnology. That Department of Biotechnology, if any student knows, right, formed in 1986 under the Ministry of Science and Technology, has the mandate to fund research, right, in various areas of biotechnology like pre-biotech, medical biotech, industrial biotechnology, and its application to the society at large. International collaboration, supporting startups and the biotech sector in the country. Right, all those if you are able to bring there. Then in the body of the answer, right, in the body of the answer here, now what do you have to bring here? You have to take area of applied biotechnology one by one. Let's say medical biotechnology, right, biotechnology, medical biotechnology, healthcare. And then you have to mention R&D achievement. Very important. In the field of medical biotechnology in India, you have to give research and development achievements made by scientists and various institutions of biotechnology and its application for societal benefit. So let's say here, let's say medical biotech, agri-biotechnology, energy, environment, right? All these areas. Now your body of answer will have 3 layers. In your answer will be 3 layers. The first layer will be in terms of research, R&D. You can mention in terms of second layer, that is the such kind of programs, missions. Sometimes the missions may be international collaboration. Our scientists working with international scientists in those areas of medical biotechnology or agri biotechnology, environmental biotechnology, right? Any such area there, applied biotechnology. And third layer will be the achievements. What output has come up, how it has been applied to the society to help the poorer section. These 3 sections have to be touched in the question. Let's look into that. And at the last, you will have a conclusion. After giving with example, you have to give with the examples in the body of the answer. And the conclusion, when you come to the conclusion part, in the conclusion part, you have to bring about very briefly that today biotechnology research is helping India develop in a many ways as discussed, and it is going to transform Indian society in coming future. Right? You have to just bring about that. Right? So here, in terms of very brief, in terms of which you can give a way forward. You can mention about way forward. Correct? Let's look into that. The body of the answer, right? Way forward I have given the body of the answer here. Let's say you have to start with the DBT R&D achievement in the field of medical biotechnology. Let's say healthcare or medical biotechnology, red biotechnology. So if you look at R&D achievement in medical biotechnology, it's the first area in terms of medical biotechnology. So you can mention about such kind of programs there. So what are the key initiatives being supported by the Department of Biotechnology? So let's say here, so basic research strength there, vaccine science, vaccine. You know, the preventive healthcare. During the time of pandemic, right, we have been successfully able to develop vaccines under Atmanirbhar Bharat program, Covishield and Covaxin. And there are other number of candidates there which are under the research phase. So vaccine. Another thing what comes here, therapeutic aspect, medicines, cancer drug, malaria, and different type of drugs. Like their research part of R&D into that, which can support our biopharma industry. Right? So again, you have to bring about in terms of then biomedical instrumentation, biodesign, biomedical engineering, various type of instruments for diagnosis and all this. And if you write with examples, you'll get very good marks. So if you look at here, one government program, Indo-US Vaccine Action Plan program, VAP, India and America, USA together. Their funding into research to develop vaccines there of deadly viruses. Right? This program is there. Then again, National Biopharma Mission, very, very important. National Biopharma Mission to develop the holistic development of biopharma sector in India, right? Innovate in India. There's something called I3, Innovate in India. And in that particular sense, innovate in India and make in India, right? In terms of manufacturing, doing the R&D, center of excellence, and developing a lot of such kind of biopharma products. So there's already ongoing mission called here National Biopharma Mission. You have to mention that in your answer. Then what comes here? IND-CEPI mission, very, very important. India's CEPI mission. What is CEPI stands for? CEPI stands for Coalition. Stands for Coalition for Epidemics Preparedness. Is an international program. Preparedness, innovation. CEPI, CEPI. India being the chair of the CEPI program. Now here this international program of coalition of epidemics preparedness and innovation. Deadly viruses like Ebola, swine flu, right? Then now COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, to develop through R&D vaccines for such deadly viruses there. There's already international program CEPI and India is a partner into that. Right? There's another one. Then Mission COVID Suraksha. During the time of this pandemic, biotechnology research has helped a lot in terms of not only development of vaccines, even now R&D is going on for development of medicines for COVID-19. Even for supporting the patients having the COVID, right? Already there are some Ayurvedic medicines and all those kind of things have been developed. But now again, research is going on to develop medicine for COVID-19 there. Various type of biodesign instrument, diagnosis, rapid antigen test, RAT, RT-PCR test, reverse transcription PCR test, polymerase chain reaction test. We have all developed indigenous, and that is only through R&D, research and development, which a student have to mention the answer there, right? Now, if you look at here, right, very important mission there, Unnati, right? What is Unnati? Atal Jai Anusandhan. It's a very, very important mission here. Atal Jai Anusandhan Unnati mission. Another very important mission, that is again in terms of collaboration with India's CEPI program, CEPI program there, right? Unnati stands for here, this undertaking nationally relevant technology innovation. Undertaking nationally relevant technology innovation. And 3 areas have been marked here. What are the 3 areas here? One is health. Second comes here agriculture, and third area is energy. In terms of research and development and innovation, what is innovation? Creative, new thing, new product, new design, new process, which will have market use, which can be used in the society. Atal Jai Anusandhan, this Unnati mission, to fund research R&D, right, in the field of agri-biotech, medical biotech, biotech. And we have started this program in 2019. It's a very latest program. 2019, this program has been started in terms of supporting this India CEPI mission there. And for 5 years, it is from 2019 to 2024. What is the question? Question is about R&D achievement, research and development achievement in applied biotechnology. If you are able to write all this, you are able to bring in the answer, then you will get marks, right? Now, India CEPI, I have mentioned that potential, there's a outbreak of the disease, right? Rapid vaccine development for Ebola, for swine, for Zika, now for COVID-19. This international CEPI program is there. And again, this is supported in India through research, through Atal Jai Anusandhan Unnati program. And government is giving fund for the 5 years, right? Now that is called achievement. What you call achievement, R&D achievement like this. Now coming to here, public health and nutrition. So you know that Poshan, the program called Poshan, nutrition. And particularly in India, where young children, young children, adolescents, and women suffering with malnutrition, undernutrition there is a big challenging task for the country. And in this context, Prime Minister has already addressed so many times in terms of having Poshan, PM Poshan program there. Right? Because here, if you look at what is thrust here, if you look at here, this is 1994 as a food and nutrition program government started. Now, what is the thrust program here? To develop technological and clinical solutions for the nutrition related problems. Very, very important. I'll read again. To develop technological and clinical solutions for the nutritional related problems. And that again through research and development in field of biotechnology. Now, what are such problems? Malnutrition, anemia, lack of iron, anemia. Children are anemic, even the women comes to anemic there. Diarrhea, stunting, not having proper growth and development. PM Poshan program, and again that's supported through R&D in the field of biotechnology, like biofortification of food, iron fortified rice, zinc fortified rice given to young children there. Again through the biotechnology interventions, and that requires R&D. And then the achievement, you have developed such kind of fortified rice to provide wholesome nutrition to such kind of children who suffer with malnutrition. Correct? This is the answer. This is what you write, you'll get marks. Correct? So if you look at here in this context here, further in the answer here, stem cells, regenerative medicine. In India, we are having research and development in terms of stem cells, embryonic stem cells, pluripotent stem cells, which can be programmed to form any type of body cells, kidney, lungs, heart, skin. And today, stem cell therapy can cure blindness, then blood cancer, leukemia, retinal damage, blood disorders, thalassemia. They can be treated with the help of stem cells. So in India, already Department of Biotechnology funded stem cell research is going on. See, when you write answer in main exam, there you don't have to explain what is a stem cell. You have to mention that stem cell research and stem cell therapy. Our country is working into that. India and Japan, Indo-Japan collaborative research to develop iPSC, induced pluripotent stem cells. You all are aware what is iPSC? Induced pluripotent stem cell. What is iPSC? Where the normal cells can be transformed into pluripotent stem cell like embryonic stem cell, and then further can be programmed to form other type of body cells. Again, we are having R&D, research and development in the country, and we are also collaborating with Japan and other countries in iPSC research, regenerative medicine, stem cell therapy. You have to mention that in your answer as a part of achievements, and which can help the poorer section of the society. Nutrition, health, vaccine, medicines, stem cell, right? So that is what comes into. Then comes here in terms of achievements, like here biomedical engineering, biodesign, and under National Biopharma Mission, biosynthesis, biodesign, various instrument, equipment, diagnosis. Even during the COVID time, we have been successful in developing through R&D, and today we are using that. Correct? So if you look at here, affordable, what is very important? When we do the research and when we manufacture, then what is very important? Affordability. Larger, poorer section of society can get the benefits from such research and development in biotechnology. Right? So here, if you look at here, in terms of supporting here, therapeutic and biomedical application, biomedical devices, implant, body implants, bioinstrumentation, biomedical sensors, even sensors which can be used for diagnosis, disease diagnosis sensors, bioimaging, body imaging, bioimaging, imaging of protein, DNA, RNA, all those kind of for improved diagnostics, medical equipment, existing medical equipment, tissue engineering, and other areas for affordable healthcare products. What is very important? Affordable healthcare products. Again, biotechnology R&D being carried out. And we have been successful in developing number of products. So in your answer, you have to give examples. Like for example, if you take the example here, let's say here this one, AMR, infectious disease biology. Even for infectious diseases like bacterial diseases, viral diseases, fungal diseases, parasitic diseases. Again, number of DBT institutions. Many scientists are working in the country. Now, if you look at here, tuberculosis, TB diagnosis, TB treatment, and particularly with the challenging situation of multi-drug resistance, MDR TB, total drug resistance, TDR TB, extreme drug resistance, XDR TB. And you know that India has a huge burden of tuberculosis, and particularly in poorer section, poorer people, the poorer people of the country who suffer with tuberculosis. Right? Again, biotechnology research can help a lot in terms of infectious diseases. And it's not only tuberculosis, there are other bacterial infections. And now with the viral infections, with the COVID and all this, again, biotechnology research becomes very important. Right? So let's look at here, this one. Various R&D efforts, various research and development efforts, where supported area of bacterial diseases like Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which cause tuberculosis, TB, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Acinetobacter baumannii, Salmonella, Staphylococcus, Heliobacter pylori, trachoma, this is another thing, meningitis, urinary tract infection. And again, the poorer section, what comes here? The huge disease burden of tuberculosis in our country. What is emphasis has been given on diagnosis, finding out who are suffering with tuberculosis, therapeutic medicines to help the TB person survive, treatment of the disease, and also vaccines, very, very important, vaccines of TB, TB vaccine. India has been successful in developing vaccine for tuberculosis. We have developed conjugated vaccine for TB. That is achievement of R&D, achievement of research and development in India. So you will only get marks if you write this. It's not that anything, right, you are not aware and you have written and you expect that UPSC will give you marks. No. Content is very, very important. What I'm trying to bring out today in front of all of you is a very, very important thing. That's what I say, that science and technology you cannot neglect. Many students, they don't realize. And at the end, they lose marks in the main exam. Diagnosis, therapeutic, and vaccines for tuberculosis. Again, the poorer section there. For viruses also there, again the part comes here. AMR, antimicrobial resistance. You know what is AMR? Where bacteria, virus, parasite, or any type of such pathogens acquire resistance to multiple drugs. That is AMR. WHO, World Health Organization, has already has given the warning in terms of rising AMR cases. In India again, the more number of AMR cases there. You all are aware of that. Now here biotechnology research can be really a very, very important. Understanding AMR, doing research and trying to find out some novel molecule, right, which can help people suffering with AMR. Again, we are having biotechnology funded research in the country, right? So in this context, we find here drug resistance, evolution of drug resistance of bacterial pathogens here. Combating here, therapeutic intervention for combating AMR. Therapy, medicines to combat antimicrobial resistance cases in India. Again, R&D, research and development, right? Further, if you look at further here, in this context here, dengue day 1 test. You know that dengue, right? It is Aegypti mosquito where the platelet count goes low. It becomes very critical to diagnose person suffering with dengue. Through R&D, right, our scientists have developed this diagnostic kit, which on the day 1 only, first day itself, will be able to detect dengue or dengue. So another achievement. If a student is able to give such examples, will get marks. Another example, tuberculosis, there is a biomedical engineering, biomedical instrument has been developed. It's called CTB. What is here? CTB. You know that. Normally, how the diagnosis of tuberculosis? The sputum which may contain the bacteria. Staining of the bacteria can be seen through microscope. So here, this is where CTB device has been developed, which can find out the bacteria, TB bacteria there. Is a biomedical instrumentation, affordable, which can be used in TB hospitals in the country there. Clinics and hospitals can be used. This kind of examples you have to come out in the answer to get good marks, right? Then again, another thing here. In India, we have a problem with respect to here in terms of preterm birth. But again, COVID, during the time of COVID, biobanking of specimens of the COVID. Again, what is the very importance of biobanking of COVID-19 sample specimen coming from various persons who are infected with COVID-19? Such kind of biobank, which have those kind of specimens of the COVID-19, will be able to characterize the virus, structure of the virus, mutations of the spike protein of the virus, development of medicines for the virus, development of vaccine for the virus and their viral strain. In that case, the specimens collected from various individuals infected with COVID-19 and keeping in the biobank can really help in research. I'm telling a very, very important point from COVID-19 research point of view, right? So here, COVID Research Consortium here, R&D effort for therapeutic medicines. Imagine if we get a medicine, that if COVID-19 is there, we take the medicine and we recover from COVID-19. Now that research, again, you require some kind of sample clinical studies. That's what biobanking there, biopreservation and biobanking of COVID-19 samples. Now how this will help biopreservation and biobanking of COVID-19 samples collected from individuals suffering with COVID-19? It will help in vaccine development of vaccine and treatment. It will also help in guiding towards handling, including the nasopharyngeal swab. You know that in terms of finding whether the person has the virus, either nasal or pharyngeal, nasopharyngeal swabs are taken, throat swab or nasopharyngeal, and we carry out RT-PCR test to confirm whether the person has the virus or not. Again, the biobanking, biopreservation, even it can help in the safety aspect of that. How the samples can be collected, can be preserved, vaccine development, medicine development through research, and also what comes here, condition which is required for higher kind of safety, to be followed for preserving the coronavirus samples, the virus samples, various strain of the sample, Delta strain, then Omicron strain, or any kind of future strain. That way the biobanking can be really very important. I am 100% sure many of the aspirants who have wrote answer of this question would not have brought on this. Your answer should stand different from rest of the people. Your answer should be to the point as what demanded by the question. At the same time, your answer must be such good content which really, impress the examiner. At the same time, give the correct and the weightage to fetch marks in the exam. Many students, they don't know, they are not aware of it. Right? They're not really aware of this, what I'm discussing right now in front of all of you. And that could be a, even this kind of thing, if you are able to bring that, it can be really a wonderful answer you can write in the main examination, right? So here this comes here. That's a bio specimen of the COVID samples for the R&D point of view. Then here, cancer research in India. In India, cancer is rising very fast, right? Various type of cancer: breast cancer, cervical cancer, blood cancer, pancreatic cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, oral cancer. And you can see here the cancer project which have been supported. This pie chart is a cancer project which have been supported by Department of Biotechnology. Various type of R&D, research and development being carried out to develop anti-cancer drug molecules. Even for vaccine development program for cancer is being worked out. And now cancer is not only the urban phenomena and only the higher segment of the society. It has now, cancer has become the part of the lower middle class and the poor class of the society. And because of their economically being backward, they are not able to afford to treat cancer. Again, the R&D achievement in terms of such projects, which is supported by the government, can help large number of cancer patients in India, and particularly those who are coming from poorer sections of society, right? That is another thing what you have there. Then what comes here? Preterm birth. Now what is preterm birth here? Women who are not properly nourished, they have some kind of health issues. They give birth to infant, the baby, before the 9 months. Maybe 7 months the early birth is there. This is called preterm birth. Now it is very difficult and very harmful also. In some of the cases, the mother who give birth die after giving the birth to preterm baby, or the preterm baby is not able to survive longer because of the weak, is not completely has gone through the gestation period. Now look at how the R&D, research and development, can help. Research and development in biotechnology can be developed to provide the right intervention in terms of diagnosing those women who can give birth to preterm baby. Department of Biotechnology has funded a research project, right, being as a grand challenge for preterm birth, and has successfully developed, right, intervention to diagnose in women who can give preterm birth. If we are able to diagnose and find out who are those women or mothers who will give birth to preterm birth, so the doctors and gynecologists will start, right, interventions early, so that preterm birth can be prevented, or after the birth, mother and infant can be saved. And again, this preterm birth problem is common among lower sections of society. This is what the question is asking. This is what the question has been asking there. Another important part of the answer, right? Another very important part. So preterm birth, Grand Challenge Research Program, right? And in this context, there is a program called Garbhini. Garbhini is an interdisciplinary program, right, in terms of maternal and child health. Maternal and child healthcare program, Garbhini. So here, under this program, there is an interdisciplinary research group called Garbhini. Right? Garbhini. What is Garbhini? Interdisciplinary group for advanced research on birth outcome. I'll repeat here. Interdisciplinary group for advanced research on birth outcomes called Garbhini. Already a consortium of scientists who have worked into that and developed a diagnostic method to find out such kind of early birth or preterm birth. That is the achievement of R&D in the field of applied biotechnology. This is what the question is asking, right? So here, so 20 weeks, after 20 weeks of the gestation period, such preterm birth can be diagnosed. Then coming to here, in terms of other use, agriculture biotechnology. Now I'm coming to agriculture biotechnology. What through R&D, research and development in agriculture biotechnology, we have the achievements. And you know that agriculture biotechnology can help farmers. Right? Even though there are farmers who are not high income farmers, they are low income farmers. They can get benefit from the agriculture biotechnology research. And particularly here, India is vulnerable to climate change impacts. So we need to develop through research drought resistant, flood resistant, high temperature tolerant crop varieties, high nutritional varieties of crops, biofortified crops which will contain fortification with nutrients. Again, scientists have developed it. And you have to bring in your answer with examples, those achievements. So let me now bring about here. So R&D support, research and development support in terms of varieties of crops to mitigate climate change. Right here, improved yield, biofortification, improved quality parameters of crop plants, genome sequencing, DNA sequencing, right? Genome sequencing analysis of genetic characteristics of indigenous germplasm, indigenous varieties of crops and plants in India, DNA sequencing, genome analysis and sequencing there. Then coming to here, quality manpower, then network program for priority areas in agriculture research, then establishing center of excellence in priority crop plants across various regions, regional areas, because different regions have got different type of cultivation of crops depending on agroclimatic zones. Again, this could help the poorer section of society, right? Further, if you see the example here, these are the examples, achievements. All this can only you will be able to learn if you are aware there. Otherwise, writing answer in main exam every year will be challenging, right? So if you take here, for example here, wheat, Unnat wheat varieties, high improved varieties there. Pusa Basmati, bacterial blight resistant, prevent bacterial blight disease. Then improved white rice here. Then you can see rice again here, rice varieties, then rice varieties, soybean varieties, then soybean varieties, then maize variety, high quality protein maize called Vivek 9. This one, high quality protein maize, Vivek 9 varieties there, which contain essential amino acids. Again, biofortified maize variety, cod varieties. So the very important thing, do you know about it? Have you read about it? If you're not aware of it, if you don't read all this, you'll not be able to write answer. And if you're not able to write answer, you will not get marks. As simple as that. I have been telling continuously in all the batches Everywhere to the students I have been telling that science and technology approach for the main exam is a very different sort of approach, and there you need to know from the government development there, and this time the question has proved to that level there, right? Even the earlier years also questions have come from other areas, have been asked from Indian development perspective there, and particularly from the India's R&D, research and development, whether nanotechnology question or robotics question, right, or nuclear science and technology question, space science and technology question, and now this time the biotechnology part of it. Now other areas, if you look at other areas here, right, energy science and waste to energy science and waste to energy part of it. You know that 2018 government come out with proposal to have new national biofuel policy, bioethanol and biodiesel program, and in this context biofuel program 2G, second generation biofuel, and third generation algae, microalgae based third generation biofuel, right, and its development again requires R&D, research and development, and biotechnology can be used for such area. Another achievement what we have got here. So June 2018 government allowed that, and what is the target here? Biofuel. So if you look at here, biofuel R&D here, right, that's again through biotechnology there. Ethanol blended petrol, blending indicative target of 20% blending in petrol and 5% blending in diesel, biodiesel by 2030, right? So here second generation here. So target, indicative target of 20% blending of ethanol in petrol and 5% blending in of biodiesel in diesel, proposed by 2030. And particular research is being done for focus on second generation, which can come from starchy food, pea molasses, food grains, right, sugary products and all this one, carbohydrate containing. And third generation advanced biofuel, which is coming from microalgae, and government is giving fund for setting up refineries to make bioethanol and biodiesel. And again we have achieved, today India has achieved through this research. So if you look at here, biofuel area working group is there. Now this is a kind of a algae based kind of a refinery there, biofuel part of it. Another you can see here, microalgae based biofuel. We have set up the refinery in Pune and all this one, and we are making that. We are doing the research and we are developing such kind of biofuel. And again it has come through biotechnology research. Now this could also be a source of income for people at large, right? That is where the waste to energy, even for the bioremediation, phytoremediation, sewage treatment, and all these biotechnology interventions have been developed, right? Now if you see further here, waste to energy, what comes here? Environmental biotechnology here. What I mentioned here in terms of phytoremediation, filtration, phytoremediation. What is phytoremediation? Using plants which can filter the waste material, microbial degradation, bioremediation, biorestoration technologies for degraded ecosystem. Again the environmental biotechnology have been put across there. So all this industrial effluent, bioremediation, xenobiotic compounds, right, catalysis, conservation of biodiversity, river cleaning program, right, cleanup programs and all this one. Again through environmental biotechnology research we have taken up this. So when you say uplift of poorer section of the society, so agriculture, medical science, even environment can also very important, because if society doesn't have a healthy environment, then they will suffer with disease and all this kind of thing. And then finally you can give your conclusion part, that such kind of programs as supported by the government has really helped, and at the same time the international collaboration, and there is again further need to give more and more funding to develop more and more such kind of a biotechnology research based products for socio-economic development. I have given you so many points. If a candidate, aspirant, has such kind of a vast knowledge and they know from the government perspective, will easily write 250 words. Now here, how do you write here body of the answer? You are starting with a paragraph, you are starting and then point wise. Even you can bring out 6, 7, 8 important points through R&D, research and development, biotechnology, applied biotechnology, and achievements, and give examples there. You get marks. Right? So that's what it becomes really very crucial. How do you write answer? What should be the content of the answer? It becomes really important. Now I'll take the third question, that is on blue LED light. Another very important question has been asked. That's the blue LED light here. I've kept the photographs of 2014 Nobel Physics Prize winners. Right. So question is this one. Let me first read the question here. The Nobel Prize in Physics of 2014 was jointly awarded to Akasaki, Amano and Nakamura for the invention of blue LEDs in 1990s. Now this is the information being given in the question. Now what is the question asking? Very, very important. How has this invention impacted the everyday life of human beings? How does this invention of blue LED has impacted everyday life of human beings? Answer in 150 words, 250 words. Again, 250 word question has been asked, right? So here, first context is this one, Nobel Prize in Physics of 2014. Very specifically mentioned here. And in terms of invention, right, names of scientists are not very important. Invention of blue LEDs, light emitting diodes. The names of scientists have already been given in the question. And the question, the information saying how this invention impacted the everyday life of the human being. This is the next key word in the question. Right? So I've already put across the photograph here. So Akasaki, then you have Amano and the right third one Nakamura. All three Japanese scientists who got the Nobel Prize. Right? Now how would you write answer? What should be the answer part of it? In your answer, introduction part. Right? In the introduction part, let me bring here. In this answer, first is the introduction part. Now in introduction part, already Nobel Prize in Physics 2014 names of scientists have been given. Right? Would you repeat that? Would you write the same sentence? Not necessary. You will be wasting your words. You can mention that, but not just exactly copy the sentence there. You can mention that 2014 Nobel Physics Prize is very important in terms of invention of light emitting diode, LED, right, which is a blue colored LED. What is very important? Blue color LED. Earlier scientists were able to develop red and the green, but the blue was not made. It was very challenging and difficult in 90s at that time to develop those kind of blue LEDs there. Light emitting diode, semiconductor based light emitting diode. So we are giving a brief background, right, about blue LED here, light emitting diode, right, brief background. And why the scientists were trying for this particular LED, blue LED? Because it would have completed the entire work. If the blue LED was made, then combining with red and the green, white LED, today what we use, white light, could be made. Or any other color combination can be made if blue LED would have been developed that time, 90s. So many attempts were tried, but they were not, many scientists were not been able to successfully develop blue LED. You are just introducing such brief background in your answer, right? That challenge. What are the challenge here? Challenge in this part. Then in the body of the answer, you have to write about what are the applications of blue LED, right? There's the application part. Today, number of gadgets we are using with blue LED. The TV panel, computer screen, mobile phone, they all use blue LED. We have backlit LED lights, organic LED lights, right? Solar panel, right, which we use in street lighting, home, LED bulb, all this which where the blue LED becomes very, very important. Application part. Because question is that impacted day-to-day life, everyday life. That comes application. And then is benefit. When you say impact on human lives, benefit also comes in. Efficiency. LED is more efficient than earlier incandescent bulb. Right? You know, Thomas Alva Edison, incandescent bulb, which has less intensity but consume more power. Then came fluorescent lamp, CFL and all, which use mercury vapor. And again, it has a efficiency higher than incandescent bulb, but again consume electricity more. Not very efficient. And again, problem with the mercury, which is toxic, heavy metal. But when the LED came, it became compact, same power consumption, more brightness, lumens, more energy. Power saving, right? Energy efficiency, which can save the cost. At the same time, electricity consumption. Because today the electricity comes from coal-based thermal power plant, which release tons of carbon dioxide to the environment, which cause air pollution and global warming, climate change. Again, such kind of efficient lighting systems, which consume less electricity, not only in terms of cost, but it has also played very important role in terms of mitigating the climate change impact, in terms of controlling the carbon emission. That's where the benefits comes in. So in the conclusion part, you can say that in future, such kind of LEDs in terms of photonics, more and more advanced technologies will be supported through such LEDs and blue LEDs there. Next, in terms of photoelectronics, photonics, all this thing where again LED can be a very important thing. You know that now Li-Fi, light fidelity. In future, the light-based communication will be there, wireless communication will be there. Again, the LED will play a very important role. That you can write, the future technology will also be driven through LED. And that could be a conclusion or way forward. The third part could be here, conclusion here. Right? That future, in terms of future development of LED based application here. Right, particularly blue LEDs, which can play a very important role in photonics, right, light based devices, quantum computing, quantum communication, where the light based devices, again the LED can be a very important one. Li-Fi, light fidelity, again could be a very important one. That you can write as a way forward, conclusion, right? So you should know the structure of the answer. What you are going to write in the answer, that becomes really very important. Let's look into that. I'll provide you such information. I'm now going to go through such information here. Let's look at here. First of all, 1994, right, Nakamura, he was working with Nichia Corporation in Japan. Right, he developed this blue LED through indium gallium nitride. If any student or any candidate know that this indium gallium nitride, where the Nakamura in Nichia Corporation in Japan, he was able to use this kind of a material, he was able to make blue LED. That was really a great invention, right? So by adjusting the amount of indium to this semiconductor, he was able to produce blue light, blue background. Same time, Samu Asaki and Hiroshi Amano, he used blue color sapphire, right? Sapphire as a substrate, and was able to develop the blue LED. That's what jointly all these three got the Nobel Prize. The background here, blue LED, how the blue LED came into that, right? Then again here, why it has becomes very important, because blue LED brought a new industry, right? Entirely new industries came into existence. Because now blue, red and green can be combined to form white light or any kind of color combination, right? So that can be make any other color there. And this has helped in power efficient screen. Like today, laptop screen, mobile screen, smartphone screen, camera, the screen there. This LED panel, what I'm teaching right now, is a digital panel. Again, it is made of the backlit LEDs. Again, that played very important role. Then you have TV, computers, iPad, cell phone, right? Electronic miracles of the modern world, right? Further, so batteries and all storage system here. Even like, today in aeroplane, you have the LED lighting where you switch on for your reading and all this. So even in the aeroplane here, white shade from the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, International Space Station, low Earth orbit, even there LED lights are being used. This is how the transformation has happened because of this invention of blue LED. Then comes here their flip bulbs. Today in homes we are using LED bulbs. Again, all possible there. Smartphone, laptop, then organic LED, OLED. Today LED TV panels are there, OLED there. Different materials are there. Right, TV and all this comes here, OLED screen, right? Then again, LED lighting, LED bulbs in the houses, lawn, garden, street light, everywhere the LED lights comes into that. There it comes into that. Then benefits what? LEDs can emit far more light. See, what are the benefit here? LEDs can emit far more light with less power. If we compare LED with incandescent bulb and CFL, LED can produce more light with consumption of less power. Correct? Second, if we take example here, incandescent light bulb, 16 lumens in 1 watt of electricity, whereas fluorescent light, 70 lumens, 1 watt of electricity, whereas the modern white LED can emit 300 lumens, 1 watt, is a comparison figure. If you know this fact in comparison with incandescent light and fluorescent lamp, how much lumens of light can be produced in 1 watt of electricity. So it's a good thing if you know it. If you don't know, not a problem. At least you can write that it's more efficient, more produce light, less power consumption, right? Then again here, it can save quarter of world's electricity. If we have more LED based application, LED based gadgets, devices and systems, it will consume less power. If it consumes less power, worldwide production of electricity, a quarter of electricity can be reduced. And quarter electricity production reduced means the emission, carbon emissions can be reduced. If carbon emissions can be reduced, global warming, climate change can be fought more efficiently, right? That comes here. So there here, light even generate here, efficient lighting here, economic environmental impact, it can save money because less power generation, again, country can save money, the society can save money because the power production will be less because LEDs will consume less power. Even LED disposal, right, though it creates electronic waste, but as compared to incandescent light and fluorescent lamp, is more better to recycle the LED bulbs and the lighting system. So environment friendly. It has got economic and environmental angles. Correct? So here, reducing greenhouse gases and climate change there. Right? So solar powered off-grid energy. Now, very important here. It can also, LED can be used in solar powered LED lights, rooftop solar panel which can provide electricity, street lighting where the LED bulbs are there, and they are powered through solar panel. And now such kind of a worldwide now emphasis given on renewable energy, particularly solar power, where we can use solar photovoltaic panels, SPV panels, where we can generate electricity from the sunlight, and that can power up the LED lights, which is very important from the global warming and climate change perspective. And COP26 Glasgow summit, climate change summit in November 2011, right? World leaders have come out with Green Grid Initiative, a worldwide global grid of electricity being generated through green power, renewable power like solar, wind and all this. And that can light up homes worldwide in terms of LED lamps. Again, that is a very important impact what blue LED has brought. Correct? So here you can see here this all benefits here, right? So this is where it has transformed the human lives, right? Saving money for and electricity for all, LED's efficiency, right? And can be used anywhere, right? Solar installation can charge LED lamp to last for a long time, right? Children can study at home even the night time after the dark. So such LED, which will be LED bulb, which will be powered through solar energy, solar panels, and imagine if it is a worldwide grid as proposed in the climate change Glasgow summit, Conference of Parties 26 of UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. If such kind of global grid can be made, imagine how tremendous impact will be on the world, not only in terms of energy and climate change and pollution aspect, but also in terms of economic, environment, and also society at large. Right? Children in sub-Sahara region, desert areas, difficult terrain, they will get light up their home with LED bulbs. And this has happened because of this blue LED, this development which happened there, right, in 1990s. So that's what Nobel Committee recognized this invention and awarded these 3 Japanese scientists with the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2014. Now, what is future? What is future here? The future, when you write conclusion, so it can also be used in photonics devices there. Then Li-Fi, in future, the LED bulb which can, changing intensity can help in communication, Li-Fi. That again will be driven through LED, right? Then photonics, then quantum communication, right? Quantum computing and quantum communication. Qubits of information, quantum bits of information. And qubit can be ion, qubit can be atom, qubit can be electron, and qubit can be light. Quantum bit can be light. And there the LED in electronics, in the field of electronics, can transform the electronic industry, photonics. And again, in terms of quantum computing, quantum computation, quantum bits of information with qubit coming from light, which can be through LED, right? Plus communication. All these are future technologies, which will be also impacted with the LED, light emitting diodes. That's what the blue LED, that was a missing link, right, was invented by these 3 scientists. If a student or candidate in this year exam is able to write all this in 250 words in a proper way, will get marks. UPSC will give marks. So I always keep on saying that UPSC is easy also and UPSC is difficult also, right? UPSC is easy for those who know exactly the meaning of the question, demand of the question, and write according to the question what is important and with very good content, right? It's difficult for those who don't understand properly and write anything for the sake of writing, getting less marks, right? And content will only come when you read such information, getting from such sources. And UPSC will always keep on experimenting with questions in every year main examination. So your task is the preparedness, how well you are prepared. Right? So I know that this complete exercise, what we have done at Drishti IAS, right? There's a discussion of 3 questions of science and technology, opens up your eyes, opens up your mind, and even for those who are going to write exam in coming years, in future, right? They know how to go about with answer writing of science tech questions. And since this is a very dynamic area, but again very, very important, which cannot be neglected. So Drishti IAS and the team and things are providing you content in science and technology, current aspect on science and technology, you have study material science and technology, right? All these are covered there. At the same time, I being the teacher of the Drishti IAS, right, I covered all these kind of topics in the classroom there. So at least for all of you, right, to make you aware the nature of the question, the standard of the questions, and the way you have to write the answer, right? This exercise has been done by Drishti IAS management. So if you take all 3 questions, they are of medium difficulty, right? Not very difficult, not very simple, moderate level. And it does matter in GS3 paper to score very good marks, right? There are other kind of questions with other areas which are again connected with application of science and technology. But these questions are purely from science tech perspective, what I've covered in the right now in the session. I hope this helps you understand the demand of the examination, understand how to go about with answer writing part, right? And I wish you all the best to all of you who have written the exam, right? At the same time, all of you who are going to appear in the mains exam in future. So from Drishti IAS, right, from the team of Drishti IAS, I thank all of you for attending this session and watching this video. If you have any kind of query, any kind of a doubt, anything you want to ask, you can contact Drishti IAS. We will be happy to help you out. All right. So I thank all of you. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.